Uhh.Wav, the first and greatest creation of the group Oof legacy. Created in mid-2018, Uhh.Wav was part of the late boom of Roblox adventure games, and was loved by many, including myself. However, in recent years, things have gone nowhere but downhill. From 2 of the 3 developers leaving the project, to a dead community server, to broken promises, Uhh.Wav has been through hell, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's made it out the other side. This is the rise and fall of Uhh.Wav, one of Roblox's greatest adventure games, how it rose to stardom, and how it fell from grace. Part 1. Origins and the Rise. Before we discuss the game's death, we must first talk about the rise. Uhh.Wav was created in mid-2018, on the tail end of the Roblox adventure game craze between 2016 and 2018. Here, it stood among the likes of Adventure Forward 2, Robot 64, and even Pokemon Brick Bronze, if that's how far your definition extends. However, unlike the aforementioned 2 games, Uhh.Wav was played by popular Roblox YouTubers like Kaneko Kitten and Flamingo, among others. This meant that the game got lots of coverage and a lot of players to boot. The main draw was its goofy art style, fun gameplay, and satirical, yet surprisingly deep and almost emotional story. Uhh.Wav launched with the first 2 worlds playable, and worlds 3, 4, and 5 were added subsequently between the years of 2018 and 2019, which is pretty fast considering it's an adventure game, and we all know how long those take, don't we? Stars align. At the time of World 4's release, one of the developers, UgglyBurger0, left development. Regardless, the remaining 2 developers kept working on the game and released World 5, along with numerous mini-expansions to keep die-hard fans interested. World 6 was said to be the final world of Uhh.Wav, and people eagerly waited for its release. Unfortunately, this is where the downfall begins. Part 2. The Downfall. After UgglyBurger0 left the team, the other devs went silent for 3 months. The Oof Legacy server went into panic mode, and the developers responded with an update video on March 22nd, 2019. In this video, they talked about how a lot of features planned for Uhh.Wav were now scrapped, and that World 6 would be their final and only priority for the game. They also promised more news to be shown of the game 2 days later, on March 24th. March 24th came and went. No update, no follow-up, nothing. Trust me, I scoured YouTube, I scoured the Discord server. There's nothing, like, at all. And then it gets worse from there. For the rest of 2019, they were more or less silent about development, and the only updates were the cycle of the Halloween and Christmas events. 2020 was even worse. The game was stuck on its 2019 Christmas update until October 30th, 2020. While this seemed like a relatively minor point, it goes to show that developers no longer had the development of the game as their priority. Making matters worse, another one of the devs, Avid Anthin, left the development team to work on a game of his own, leaving only 1 developer left to work on the game. The final nail in the coffin was when Magic Mage, the final developer, decided to work on one of their older projects called Eat and Destroy, which, in stark contrast to Uhh.Wav, is your basic Roblox eating simulator. And due to the nature of Roblox's younger demographic, the game outperformed Uhh.Wav. But now, even that game is starting to fall into decline, which is kind of ironic. Part 3. False Promises and the overall death of Oof Legacy as a whole. Uhh.Wav had been a dead game now since mid-late 2020. That is, until 2021, when Magic Mage made a surprising announcement in their Discord server. They teased an engine overhaul, then another teaser of new mechanics, and for a brief moment, hope re-emerged in the Uhh.Wav community. Finally, in September of 2021, Magic Mage said that the finale of the game would be released in a week. Pure hype. 1 week later, nothing. Magic comes out and says that it was delayed due to being out of town. That's understandable, so the Uhh.Wav community waited some more. The final update regarding Uhh.Wav was when Magic Mage gave no mention of all of the finale and instead peddled the re-release of the Uhh.Wav Halloween map, before going radio silent. Now, about 6 months later, we are still waiting. Sadly, it's safe to say that Uhh.Wav will unfortunately never be finished. Part 4. Why Uhh.Wav died. Since this is the final part of the video, I think it's time we actually justify why in the world I'm calling this a theory video, because this is the actual theory part. We're going to talk about exactly why I think Uhh.Wav died. Although it was likely a myriad of reasons that led to the ultimate decline of Uhh.Wav and Oof legacy as a whole, there are three things that I see thrown around a lot. The first is that the game was too ambitious for them to reasonably complete, and I find that hard to believe. Maybe this was true in 2018, but it's 2022. Solo developers are able to make basically photorealistic recreations of real-life locations on Roblox. On a less extreme note, just look at Adventure Forward 2, which is a comparable game in size to Uhh.Wav, even being a little older than Uhh.Wav in fact. And that game finished entirely in a little over 4 years. So there must be other factors as to why it took entirely 4 years just to get one chapter of the story. And that chapter isn't even out. So it's technically taken longer for them to release a chapter than it has for Adventure Forward 2 to be entirely completed. Especially since the other worlds took only a few months to make tops. Another possibility is that they lost interest in making the game. This is likely one of the major factors that played into the downfall. Both Ugly Burger and Avid had already left to work on other things, and it seems that Magic did too without telling anyone. And ironically, all the games they left to go work on have all died too, which is sad, but also quite strange. Ultimately, the biggest cause of death for Uhh.Wav and Oof legacy as a whole is that they rarely shared anything with their fans/server members. They should have told them about problems with development, or updated them on the current state of the game so that people weren't left guessing. And there should have been only made promises that they could keep. Because of their poor communication skills, many people are still wondering and waiting for World 6 to release, despite it being highly unlikely to ever come out. And I feel like if Magic Mage just comes out and tells everyone, development is still going, or the game's dead, sorry lol, at least that's closure and no one will be left guessing, because poor communication skills and promises that couldn't be kept almost killed Stars Align earlier this year. Of course, there is a very, very small chance that I could be totally wrong. Perhaps Magic Mage and whoever else works on the game now are working on World 6 as we speak, and some unforeseen problem or issue has come up and prevented them from showing/sharing any info. So maybe if we just continue to support the developers of the game, we'll get the answers we need, because Uhh.Wav is a very special game to many people, not just lore nerds like me, and I feel like some closure is all that this community needs right now. And hey, you made it to the end of the video. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.